Prynhawn da, a chroeso. Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on health and social care and what it's like to work in the health and social care sector. We have a few people here with me today who are prepared to share their experiences of working in health and social care. We also have a number of videos that will be available for you to watch in order that you can see people's perspectives who aren't able to be with us today. So hopefully we've got plenty of really interesting material for you to get excited about, and hopefully we'll be able to get you involved in health and social care. There will be an opportunity for you to send us questions by email. The addresses are on the screen. You should see a Welsh email address and an English email address, and you can start sending your questions in now. And we will pick those questions up throughout the afternoon, and we have points within the session where we can come back to you and speak specifically about the questions asked. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself, and then I'll ask my colleagues to introduce themselves. My name is Cheryl Stevens, and I'm the Workforce Development Manager for Cwm Taf Workforce Development Service, covering Rhondda and Taff and Merthyr Tydfil local authorities and independent and private sectors.
Thanks, Cheryl. Prynhawn da, good afternoon. I'm Sandy Grieve and I'm an Engagement and Development Officer for Social Care Wales. I'm based in North Wales in St Asaph, so I've had a lovely journey here today and really looking forward to hearing some questions from you today.
Prynhawn da, good afternoon. I'm Sue O'Neill, and my role is a branch manager in a domiciliary care service, and it's called MIA's. Domiciliary care is about caring for people in their own homes.
Prynhawn da, good afternoon. I'm Chloe Patson, and I'm based at Forest Learning Curve, and I work to support vulnerable adults with learning disabilities.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So just a little bit about what the health and social care sector looks like. And we'll probably all chip in on this point, really. Health and social care is often mentioned in that way, although there are two specific elements to the areas. We have a health sector, which many people will know about. A lot of you will have had experiences of going to hospitals or outpatient clinics or GP surgeries. You might have had district nurses into your homes, etc. So the health service is a huge service that covers a vast range of roles. Social care is a different sector, but we work with the same people, because the people who access health services and social care are you and me. We all have access to those different settings. So it's important that we understand social care as slightly different to health, where social care is mainly where people are receiving in receipt of services where they live still in their own homes or living in community settings. Other people might want to add a little bit more about that.
Yeah, to me, I think, I don't actually work in social care itself. I work for Social Care Wales, which are regulators of social care, to make sure that the people who deliver services in Wales are safe and qualified to do so. But I've got personal experience of social care, and people in Wales, we know where people are living a lot longer. So with that comes complex health needs, which is why we've got to make sure that we've got the right people coming into the sector with the right values, and it's got to be in here. Qualifications you can gain, experience you will learn, but you have to have the fabulous values of wanting to make a difference, to support people to live as independently as they can for as long as they can in a safe way.
In domiciliary care is about going into people's homes and having to put a smile on their face and having a smile on your face as well, and making that moment that you're with them as valuable as can be. Safeguarding them and looking after them, it'll become normal in the end, but it is just going in and making a positive difference in people's lives on a daily basis. And it doesn't always have to be about the service user or the individual, it can be about the relatives as well.
Okay. We would like to just mention that where people who would like to send their questions in through the medium of the Welsh language, we're really happy to receive those questions written in Welsh. We will try to answer them in Welsh as well through Sandy, who's our Welsh expert today.
Croeso I chi ddanfon cwestiynau na i atab. Dwi yn half rice, half chips, bo fi'n siarad Gymraeg yn rhugl, ond siwch fod yn gyfforddus fod chi'n reid y cwestiwn ymlaen. I am fluent in Welsh, I'm bilingual. So please feel free to ask questions that in your way. I'm half rice, half chips, so I'm happy to have them half and half.
Okay, so we're due to start now with our very first video of the afternoon. We have a video clip from a lady, Emma Jackson, who started work as a volunteer in wards in hospitals as a befriender. And this is on a maternity ward. So she started with babies and young parents, or maybe older parents, as I was. And then she came through the pre-employment route via the Healthcare Support Worker programme. So you might have heard of that role, Healthcare Support Worker. And then on to employment on the staff bank at the Cwmtaf Health Board.
I'm Emma Jackson. I work for Cwmtaf Health Board and I'm a healthcare support worker. Okay, so as a healthcare support worker, I can work anything really. It's usually wards, usually is wards, like maternity, surgical, things like that, or just general elderly patients that have come in or had operations. I worked in the mental health unit, which is still attached to the hospital, but it is very separate, it's locked in and things, for patient safety. You can work in Cwmtaf Hardy Health Park as well, so there's all different roles and things. You know, if you know where you're going to look for, then it is very wide. You know, Cwmtaf, you've always got different opportunities, and I think it just opens the door after door after door. You know, it's just not one simple job that you're stuck in for the rest of your life. You know, you've always got progression, then you can always go further with that. So when I used to volunteer, I used to just be at the ladies' bedside to have a chat with them if they needed it. Some people would be single parents, so they may want to have a shower and things, so I would then look after the baby then for them to do that. I'd get bottles from the nursery for them, anything they needed, any water for the ladies, anything they needed really, just someone there to talk to and someone there that needed extra pair of hands. We'd change beds. We wouldn't do so much personal care because they're very self-caring, you know, they just had a baby, they know what they're doing. Yeah, so it was just little bits and bobs. Like if the medical staff needed something taken to pharmacy, or you know they needed paperwork filled out, you know, that like, little bits that I could have done myself, like the diary and things, you know, admissions and people that was going home, you know, would just help out little bits like that, or packing up the patient's things if they needed, you know, if they were just taking a little bit of pressure off really, but then knowing my role limitations as well. You know, if somebody asked me for the results you wouldn't give them, then obviously that's medically side, but you can do mostly everything else, which is really good and gives you an eye-opener. I have worked on maternity as well, so you do things like observations, which is like your blood pressure, your pulse, your respiration rates and things like that. So it's mainly everything that you did as a volunteer, but it's a little bit more hands-on with like record keeping and helping the staff where needed, you know, so it's a really big help. So first of all, when you go onto the ward, obviously you have your handover period where the night staff will then tell you what's going on with each patient, you know what to expect, lot of things to look out for, you know, if someone's gone a little bit unwell overnight and things, it's just to keep an extra eye on them and things. You go onto the wards then, like if you're on, like I was on a stroke ward for my shadow training, and you do a lot of personal care because they've got a left-sided weakness, so you give them a hand to have a wash, you set them up ready for breakfast. But then you can go on other wards then, they're really mobile patients, and you know, it's just little things like changing dressings and things, but usually the nurse would do that. Doing catheter bags, doing samples. Then on maternity then it's just observations and just being general, just someone there to speak to if they need it, changing beds and things, and supporting the midwives. But I've recently worked on a mental health unit and I absolutely loved it because it was like a little house where you've got like one bedroom then where they all stay, well, most of them stay in, there's a couple of bedrooms. You've got a lounge, a dining room, a kitchen, and obviously the staff room. But it's like their little house, like you get them up when they want to get up, you know, whereas on a ward it's like breakfast comes at a certain time. But then in the mental health ward then, the patient gets up as and when they want to. We just make them a cup of tea if they want, say, you know, breakfast, and dinner then comes with the dinner trolley as usual. But, you know, if they want an extra piece of toast, if they want a cuppa when they want one, you know, it's a lot more freedom of choice in the mental health ward. And I love that. I love the fact of they're not actually in the hospital, it's like their little house then. and I love it.
Welcome back. Here we are. So we just saw a little clip there of Emma giving a really short but informative outline of the types of roles that she's had and some of the tasks that she's involved in some of those roles. So it's just a little opportunity now, just a couple of minutes for us, if from the panel we've got some interesting points to make, to just highlight to you some of the key messages. And the first thing I wanted to just bring in is the interesting roles that Emma pointed out. She mentioned a number of different roles there whilst working as a volunteer. She did some work then as a healthcare assistant, and she did various things during those roles. So her time in work sounded very, very busy. I think the other important key message for me was the bit about how important she is to the people that she was supporting at that time, people who needed her support and assistance, and she was there to give them that time.
Yeah. I think about the befriending scheme. I think that's a fantastic way to maybe get into some experience into the sector before you decide which route perhaps is the right one for you. But to me, listening to Emma, it's the passion that came out about. She understands that, you know, she's obviously in the right vocation, but she understands that difference that she is actually making to people, which is it's really, really good to hear.
I think it's so good today where people have got an opportunity to try before they buy. I wish that was there in my day, because I, you know, like yourselves, you young people who you got to make choices in your life. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you want to do. Having these tasters, I think, is just something that, whether you like it or not, just give it a go. What have you got to lose?
I think that's a really good point, because, you know, you just don't know. You know, I'm 30 plus a few years, and I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And there's nothing wrong with that, because all the experiences, especially listening to Emma, the wealth of different experiences she's had, and Chloe as well as an apprentice, the wealth of experience is exposing you, which provides you with what the tools you need to do the job really well.
Okay, so we're now going to move on to another video, this time showing somebody who works for a local authority. Alistair is this person's name, and he links up with social workers who work with infants, children and adolescents. So let's hear from Alistair, please.
Yeah, so my name's Alistair Cope. My job title is Regional Development Manager for Fostering Services, and I'm currently employed by Rhondda and Taff Council, but working across both Merthyr and RCT. My background's in youth and community work, and that's where I kind of started out at the age of 17 or 18, is working in youth clubs and working with young people on a daily basis in the evenings and that kind of thing. From that, really, I undertook a variety of roles as sort of youth and community officer for the council, detached and street-based work, and through that I started to sort of look at what projects I could establish that would support young people in and around the community. And I had a large demographic of young people I was working with that were looked after at the time. So I set about devising a project that could support those young people in going into independent living. So I undertook a 6-week project with them, working on independent living skills, basic cookery, DIY skills, all that kind of stuff. And I ran that with groups of young people. From me working within social care teams, working with children's social workers on a daily basis, attending cloud reviews and things like that, I had the opportunity to apply for a role which was coordinating employment and training for children looked after, and then stepped into that role, which was in a HR team at the time. So through that, kind of built my experience in managing projects, managing teams, and working with young people on a daily basis to support them into further employment and training and education. From that, I built my sort of project management experience in developing projects from the start and seeing them through, and then was fortunate enough to apply for a role within a social work team going back a few months, as a project manager fundamentally. So now my job really is day in, day out to work with children's services teams to develop various projects around improving fostering services across. So I work with social workers, team managers, principal officers and heads of service around devising a plan to sort of improve fostering across the region, and that includes things like recruiting and retaining foster carers, training for foster carers, taking on board young people's views as well. So I'm still very much working with young people and with social workers through my current role, and that's built upon the experience. So my kind of route into social care hasn't been a go and do a degree and then jump straight in as a social worker. It's been very much a kind of like this and back and forth to different roles. Yeah, so my name.
Welcome back. Just to pick up on a couple of things there really with Alistair. First of all, I think important thing to point out, if you didn't already notice, that Alistair is a man. And one of the things that we're really keen to do is try to attract more men, and young men and older men, into health and social care work. So the messages that Alistair was passing on there were really important about the types of things that he was doing, the roles that he was involved in with young people outside of any kind of real setting, youth clubs, etc. And he's also shown how he's climbed the ladder. And it's important for you to be able to see things like that as well, about how quickly and how that secures your work in the sector. What I'd like to do now is invite us to pause for a minute or two, which gives you an opportunity to put through some questions that you might have. Hopefully we've given you enough to whet your appetite. If there's some questions that you'd like to send through via email, the two addresses are on the screen. We will give you time now to do that, and then we will pick up questions afterwards. Welcome back. Thank you for the questions that have already come in. We've had a range of questions already, so thank you very much for those. We're in the point now of collating those, and we'll come back to answer those at the end of the session. But please, if you have any more questions as we go through, please send those questions in as well. We'll do as much as we can to answer as many questions as we can today. We're just going to spend a little bit of time now. I'm going to chat with Chloe. Chloe introduced herself earlier as an apprentice working in a learning disability service, and we're just going to hear a little bit from Chloe about her role, kinds of things she does on a day-to-day basis. But perhaps we could start with how you actually found out about social care and how you came into work.
First of all, my brother's autistic, so I wanted to learn more about him and understand ways that I didn't at the start. Then I took a course which was called Pathways at Coleg yn y Cymoedd in Algarw, and it showed me for the full year. I managed to do a placement at Forest Learning Curve, and I learned all different skills. I learned loads of different things about how to cope and handle people like my brother. And then I ended up spending a year there. I then took a apprenticeship up with RCT, and I'm coming to the end of it. And I've been there nearly 2 years. Yeah.
Quite inspirational. So what's the one thing you've taken from all that then? All that learning?
I've taken a lot from it, and I've grown a bond with everyone, but most importantly I managed to grow a bond with my brother that I couldn't at the start.
Wonderful.
I think it's great as well that you know, it's one's personal experience that perhaps takes us to the career path that you have.
Yeah.
And at such a young age as well, because we all, you know, experience perhaps that at different stages in our lives. So it's really, really inspirational to hear.
Yeah.
You say.
Like I didn't understand him at first. Not that I didn't understand him, I couldn't grow a bond with him like I could with my other siblings, because I wasn't able to. I didn't understand the way he worked, and like the way he seen things was different to the way I'd see things. But then I managed to understand, and now I've grown a bond with him stronger than anything.
It's because you've learned and had the tools to support him. Yeah.
So what kinds of things have you learned during your college year and your apprenticeship so far?
I've learned that there is multiple things out there for my brother that could support him on a day-to-day basis. I've learned that safeguarding is really important. I've learned loads. I've learned all different skills, knowledge.
Had you not gone there, where do you think you would have been able to find out all this information?
I didn't really know anything. I don't think there's enough out there. I don't think people know enough about adults with learning disabilities at all.
Thank you so much, Chloe, for sharing that. I mean, it's just really interesting, and I think again the passion's coming through about you know, how close a family member is to us, and how important it is to get things right, you know, with people that we care for. We're going to move on now to another video, and I'm going to ask Sue if she will introduce the next person, please.
This is going to be a little video on Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane is another young lady who inspires me as much as many other people, who started her career just like yourselves, not knowing what she wanted to do, and she went to university, studied psychology, but her pathway wasn't there, so she ended up, and just listen to Sarah Jane now.
My name is Sarah Jane Picton. I am a supervisor, which is a visiting officer for Mia's Care. I was in university studying psychology and counselling. I heard about Mia's were taken on, so I seen an opportunity to get more experience down the road of mental health. So I applied, I got the job. I studied and worked with Mia's. I mainly done evenings because I was obviously in university in the days. Didn't stop me with my studies. You can pick the shifts you want really to help you. I then finished university. I realised it's not what I wanted to do once I got more of an experience in with Mia's. So I left university beginning of last year. I became a full-time carer, and there was an opportunity to become a supervisor. I jumped straight at that opportunity really. I previously was a care worker with Mia's. It entailed me going out into the community to people's homes to provide care they couldn't provide to themselves. It entails personal care, so that's washing, dressing, there's toileting involved, so it's assisting them to the toilet or the commode. Is domestics, which is like cleaning, and we also do social calls, so it's taking them out for an hour, maybe two. Also is shopping calls, so you get to take them out shopping. A typical day as a care worker. Right, so mornings you'd go out, You'd sometimes be the first person they see, so it's nice, you make them smile straight away. Some have hoists, like this, there. So you'd hoist them out of bed or assist them out of bed. You do their general personal care from washing, drying, dressing. You then do their breakfast with what they want. Some of them will have medication. And that's it, you just make sure they're ready for the day. You'll have a lunch call. That can be toileting. It can include the hoist again. And there's food prep within that. Their tea calls are roughly the same as their lunch. It'd be toileting, hoisting, and obviously their food prep. Their bed calls are obviously kind of like the morning, but you're putting them to bed. You basically just go in, get them ready and dressed for bed. You can use the hoist to put them into bed, or you assist them into bed. Medication again, some of them like to have like a snack before bed, so it could be like tea and biscuits, or sometimes they don't want anything, so it's just making sure they're comfortable then for the night till they see the next ones in the morning. If you're on a double-handed call or single-handed call, if you're on a single, you are going to be on your own as a care worker. If you're on double-handed calls, you will have like a buddy, so to speak, with you. So it depends which you prefer, really. I've currently been here 2 years. I've been doing my new role now for 3 months. It's interesting. It's actually quite a lot of fun as well. I was a care worker for almost 2 years. There was an opportunity to be taken as a supervisor, so I asked about it. I had my interview for it, and that's how I got into what I'm doing now. It's different to obviously being a care worker. Still rewarding, and I still go out into the community with the service users. I still see all the care staff. I meet new service users on a regular basis with new packages coming through. I'm always out there. I've got to update their care plans so the care workers know what they are doing in the calls.
Hi, you heard from Sarah there, and as you can see, that she has got quite a variety going on in her life, and it is a good job that she does. I'm going to introduce you now to Leah. Leah is working for me as again, but not as a care worker. She's an apprentice as an administrator. So there's so many pathways within a case agency that Leah is just a fine example again.
My name is Leah, and I am an apprentice administration in Mia's Care, and I've worked here for around 3 months now going on. But before I took this position on, I had a complete full interest in art and design. I was drawing, painting every day, and I was going to go into Cambridge, go into High, and go into art therapy to help others, which also led me to here with being in a care organisation and helping others. She encouraged me, and it looked interesting as I wanted to help, and being in an office of being organised, and it was just kind of, I'll give it a go and see what it do for me. And when I started, I was like, yeah, this is something I do and I could go into further with. When I started, I was very scared of other people have worked here longer than me. I've never worked office. I'm not as known of how everything goes with documents and all that. Like, I've just come from college. But yeah, it does get this quick learning. You will get the hang of it when you're with the others, with doing it as well. I have definitely had support with others, because if you're struggling, they see you're struggling, and they will try their best and take time off their hands to help you to then get better results from it, and then hopefully then you'll feel better with the job and be happier in your role.
I've been here about 3 months now. I started in July. I have definitely seen me growing confidence with speaking to new people that I've never met, then asking them about what they want and all that, try and help them, and all of like just speaking to people on the phone, answering the phone and all that, and advertising. I'm more confident in that now.
Welcome back. We're just going to move on now to talk with Sandy a little bit about the importance of the use of the Welsh language. Sandy's already introduced things in Welsh. So really, Sandy, I was just wondering if you could give a little bit of information to people today around how important it is to remember some of the Welsh language.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not going to go into legislation, but there are two equal status languages in Wales, which is Welsh and English. And I think I spend a lot of time in schools and colleges and talking to our managers as well and the workforce about the importance of using whatever level Welsh one has. While you're in school, please don't think of your GCSE as Welsh. Welsh is a communication tool. It's as basic as that. And as young people, age 2, 3, if some people want to work in nurseries with early years, they can only communicate through the medium of Welsh. As we get older, perhaps with ill health, people who are living with dementia, they actually lose their ability, or they can lose their ability to speak English. So you think about, we've heard Chloe saying about safeguarding. How can you understand what the person is trying to say to you? How can a 2-year-old tell you where it hurts if you do not understand or cannot communicate with them? So I really promote, whether it's bore da, pnawn da, sut da chi isio panad, as little as that, it can put a smile on someone's face. And more than that, you're building a relationship with someone. So from my experience talking to people across Wales, it's about fear of making a mistake. You won't make a mistake. You go to Spain, France on holiday, you will try to speak a bit of the language. In Wales, we're fortunate with our bilingual signage. We've got our own Welsh language television, radio, etc., etc. It's like riding a bike. I've not ridden a chopper since I was about 12, but I know that I could ride the chopper if I needed to. And it's about you. It's not about you, basically. It's about the person that you are delivering services to. It doesn't matter whether you're confident or you're too shy. Use your Welsh and you'll soon pick it up, and it makes a big, big difference. And we do know that we've got a huge shortage of people speaking Welsh in Wales, and going forward, we know we haven't got the workforce for the future already. So guys, if you've got any skills that we know you have, because you're in bilingual schools, some you're in Welsh schools, please, please, please put this on your CV.
I think that was said with passion there from Sandy. And if we had more time, we'd be able to tell you some good stories really about some successes that we've had with people where we've been able to talk to them in Welsh and actually really build a strong relationship with them. Okay, so we're now going to move on to a further video, which is picking up on some of the people you've already seen now today. And this video is highlighting areas of their work that they particularly enjoy. So please look out for some of the key messages here.
So in terms of working within the social care sector, there's parts of it I really enjoy, such as it's quite a fast-paced, busy environment to work in, and I particularly like that. I like to be challenged in my role. I like to have lots of things to do at the same time, and certainly in this role there's a lot of things going on at the same time, which keeps me challenged, it keeps me motivated. In terms of being rewarding, it's massively rewarding when you see a project that you've developed start to take off and ultimately start to impact the lives of the people that you started the project for.
Just experience all the different wards really. Like I thought I would really enjoy maternity, but then I've worked on mental health then, and I loved that because it was a lot more hands-on, and even though it was like a locked-in unit, and I felt really intimidated when I first got there, but I know that's only then for the safety of the patients, but they're a lot more hands-on, and I like someone to come to me and think, oh yeah, this is the person I need to speak to, I want someone to care for me, and I loved that a lot more. And like when you're doing personal care and things, yeah, at first I was a bit intimidated about it, but then you learn the ways you do things, and I just think, oh, it's not that bad. And like I said at the start, I really wasn't fussed on that, but now I'm just like, oh, you know, it's just one of those things, and that person must need to trust you then. So I think I'm an approachable, trusting person for them to want to be able to leave me do their personal care, and I really enjoy it now compared to how scared I was.
When I was a carer, I loved meeting new people. You create such a great friendship bond with the service users. Some of them can be difficult, but it doesn't stop you from enjoying your job. It is such a rewarding job being a care worker. You meet great colleagues. They are marvellous to work with as a team. It's just a generally rewarding job at the end of the day. It is marvellous.
It might be, you know, to support young people and see them develop and see them grow, you know, through progressing into jobs or progressing into independent living, which has happened in the past. It might be to see foster carers, you know, rewarded for the work that they do and acclaimed for that. It might be to see, you know, foster care changed for the better, which I'm hoping for the future. And for me in this role, you do see that tangible change happening. I'm given scope to kind of be creative, which I like, and try new ideas. And I think for me, as a project manager within children's services, social workers are so busy in the day-to-day role that they don't often get that time to develop, which means someone like me coming into the role has been seen like almost like a breath of fresh air, because I'm able to kind of have new ideas, fresh ideas. I'm outside the day-to-day sort of grinds of social work, if you like, so I'm able to be given time to develop and to change the service for the better.
Okay, we just show our final clip, which is around something that Sandy's mentioned earlier. We can't ignore the importance of people having the right values and developing skills when they come into the workforce. So please see what people have to say about this.
Yeah, you definitely need to be caring to make sure that you're meeting the needs of that patient. You've got to be outgoing, confident, but you've got to be approachable as well. You know, you can't be on a ward and a patient would be too scared to speak to you. You know, like I went on to one ward and the gentleman wanted to say, oh, sorry if I'm nagging you. No, you're here, I'm here to help you, that's absolutely fine. And he felt so reassured then, and we had a lovely chat after, you know. And I just think it's just giving that person that trust and confidence that, yeah, you're there to help, you're there to care. And I think that makes a lot of difference.
So as a care worker, you've got to be a people person. You've got to be good at communication, you've got to have good listening skills, you've got to be able to have good eye contact. As a care worker, you are going to be faced with difficult situations, so you have got to be able to manage that position you're in. You've got to just remain calm, not panic basically, be able to handle that situation to the best as you can. You won't be on your own. There's always someone on our end, on the phone, guiding you, giving you advice. You also may have family in with you, so you're not going to be left on your own.
I mean, particularly the skills and qualities you'd need to work within social care. I've witnessed in the teams that I've worked with, you need things like a good eye for detail, an ability to kind of retain information, write it down and make accurate recordings of things, and that's really, really important within a social work team. You also need things like empathy, being able to understand people, a passion for seeing change in people. you know, willingness to help, and that kind of supportive, helpful nature is really, really key, I think, in working with within social care, whether that's as a business admin person or as a social worker. You're still going to need to meet with people almost on a daily basis from out in the community. You're still going to be able to kind of ring up and speak to people, so communication skills are really key as well. So there's lots that goes into it, but I think the key things of being accurate, being showing empathy, having a heart and a passion for people as well is really, really important, and that key element of being able to communicate well with others.
Welcome back. We've had probably 30 to 40 questions come through in the time that we've been live, so thank you ever so much for those. We may not be able to get through all of those, well, I know we won't be able to get through them all now, so our intention is that we will make sure Careers Wales send you an information sheet with detailed answers to all of the questions, so please look out for that in the short near future. We are now going to just choose a selection of the questions and start with Chloe. There were some specific questions for her.
One of them was, what did the course enable me to understand autism? It weren't so much just based on autism, it was based on all different disabilities. But when I went to my work placement as an apprentice, they put me on an autism course where I was able then to understand it in more detail. And they went through it a lot more than what I did as a college student. How old was I when I started my apprenticeship? I was 18 and I'll be finishing qualified at 20.
Okay, could I, just before Sue answers some questions, could I just say that if we do run over in time, please can you manage it from your side as to whether you need to log off and then just pick up the answers at another point?
What I wanted to just raise your awareness about is many of you are asking about your qualifications, and that is good, and working towards developing your skills and your knowledge is just one of the best things. However, there are many people in my service, my care staff, who didn't have no qualifications, but once they come into the sector, we train them and develop them, and they've gone from their level 2 to their level 3. Some are on their level 5s. So that career pathway, you can get to the top, but you don't necessarily have to be excellent in school to get there. You just need to know that social care is about caring for others and having respect and dignity for others. So if it comes from the heart and you want to get somewhere in your life and you want to achieve it, you can do it.
Thank you, Sue.
I've kind of chosen, there was a bit of a theme about social workers and about the kind of qualifications and degrees and salaries as well. So there is a need to be a qualified social worker, and it is a degree. And Social Care Wales also offer a bursary if you carry out your degree in Wales. So you can apply for additional money, which will help, certainly help your parents anyway. Salary, it can vary with all through the counties, and I think perhaps starting salary around between 26 and 30, would you say, Cheryl? Yeah. Also, I had a question about apprenticeships. There are different routes to come in, so if university is not for you, if it's not the degree, listening to what Sue was saying as well about having, values-based recruitment, you can come in as an apprentice like Chloe did at level 2, and then move on to a level 3, and you can go to a higher apprenticeship, level 5. It's up to you then, if you've had enough, done work experience, do you want to go the university route then and do your degree? So there's so many different routes into the sector.
Okay, I think we've come to the end of our session today. We would like to thank everybody who's logged in to be with us. And we really hope that we've been able to stimulate your interest and make social care and health sector very exciting and interesting for you. We will be available to via Careers Wales to continue our contact. There will be opportunities for people maybe to come into schools. There will be ways that we can connect up and pass information on. So we really don't want this to be the end of the journey. There are lots of things going on in health and social care at the moment and over the next few months. So just to mention one or two things. In February in Cyntaf, because we're based in Cwntaf today. I can plug this one. We're going to be doing a workshop where we're going to invite colleagues from schools and Careers Wales and other areas to work with us to think about how we can map out some pathways and see how we can develop a career pathway for people like yourselves. In March, Social Care Wales has got an attraction campaign being launched, and this is something really exciting to look out for, that will give lots of information about the different roles that are available within the social care and early years settings. And then in April, we'll be looking to move things forward in terms of how we connect more with schools, colleges and higher education. And we will be having some funding through Social Care Wales to enable us to do that. So there's lots of things on the horizon. Today is a starting point. We're really looking to build on this. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you to each and every one of the panel members, and certainly thank you to Careers Wales for making this happen.